Hi, my name's Leanne Jackson and I'm a second year PhD student and the Media Outreach Coordinator for Fab Lab Liverpool. In support of Breastfeeding Celebration Week, we put together a video to celebrate women's experiences of breastfeeding at Liverpool. Please enjoy.
So my daughter was in hospital for the first few weeks of her life in ICU, so actually we expressed for the first 3 weeks roughly, and then the hospital, the women's were really helpful in trying to support me into learning to breastfeed, so I was readmitted for a couple of days and that's where we established it. And it was really tough at first, so we had a really tough ride. So Olivia had been on quite a lot of antibiotics in hospital, so she had thrush and that was just passing between the two of us for a while. And then she had a little bit of a posterior tongue tie, so it was useful to get that addressed. But the Bambi support in Liverpool were just amazing. Couldn't have asked for more support from them. I owe them an awful lot, so they came to the house to support me. There was the local Bambi's children's centre groups as well, and I found those incredible as a support. So I made some really good friends. They were people who offered support, were champions for breastfeeding, loved my daughter, and we're still very much in touch now, so they're the people that I'll see most regularly. Then the Bambis have an online support group as well, and that's been amazing. So at any time of night you could just throw something out there and hundreds and hundreds of Liverpool and elsewhere mums would get back to you with words of support, advice, encouragement, so that was amazing. So it got easier as she got bigger and I got more practiced, I suppose.
So I have 2 children born quite some time ago. And both of the children were, I think, what's technically known as reluctant feeders. So they were both born small, the first one not abnormally small, so that he would be in neonatal, but small for dates, and had jaundice, so feeding him was particularly difficult. He didn't want to feed from me. And so I would be in hospital, and then he would find it difficult to latch.
My daughter is now nearly 2 years and 8 months. So it's been a long run. So I did not really think from the beginning that this is how long it's gonna be. So it was more between me and her, and seeing how it works. So I knew that I want to do at least 1.5 years. That was like my idea before I even started. So altogether, I kind of always assumed I will be doing breastfeeding, maybe because it's so normal in the environment that I'm in and in the family-wise. And
Now here's some videos to explore women's experiences of social support and overcoming breastfeeding difficulties.
And the breastfeeding support from the health visitors, and I could always call and when I had some problems at the beginning, they would come to your place and just really help you and look at you and give you tips practically how to improve the position and if everything is fine and if you should worry about anything. So you have always a phone line you can call, you have always people that can come around to you, so you know that you can count on different levels of support. My family and my husband's family, for them breastfeeding was a natural thing. In my family we have a history of women breastfeeding 3.5 years, 2.5 years. So nobody really thought that it was strange. Nobody felt uncomfortable around me being breastfeeding all the time, literally anywhere and anytime. So it was, I haven't experienced any even subtle signs from the family that somebody feels uncomfortable, or no suggestions that maybe she's getting too big, or so and nothing like that. So nobody really felt, and I could feel that people didn't really feel uncomfortable with me doing that.
We then asked women to talk about the advice and tips that they have for women who might be thinking of breastfeeding, and here's what they said.
Talk to people about it. So the Bambi support group are really good, so they'll come and visit you and sort of suggest things to try if you're finding it hard. Things like getting a position to breastfeed in, because you know, there's lots of different ways to do it. Now she's quite big, I'll sort of sit her on my knee and feed her like this, but there's sort of different holds where you can have them lying down, or like the rugby tackle position under one arm. Normally I just feed her in bed at home, which is quite relaxing, and also that'll get her straight off to sleep as well. So if you're lying down when she goes to sleep, then that's a real bonus. Other things I've used, so I've got an app which records the data. So there's a thing called Baby Tracker app, which you just install in your phone. And that's quite a nice way of seeing when did she last eat, how long has she been eating for today. So you think, oh, why is she a bit cross? And it's because, oh, she hasn't eaten for an hour and a half, so that's why she's hungry. So I find that quite reassuring. When people are bottle feeding, they can see how much milk the baby's had just because it's all gone. When you're breastfeeding, you don't necessarily know how much she's had to eat. So I have that like quite useful, reassuring thing by looking at the app.
I would just say, even if it's a bit tricky at the beginning, if you want to breastfeed, then do stick with it, because it does genuinely get easier. So when you're a new mum and you've just given birth, everything kind of hurts, and it can be, and that can hurt as well because your new body is adjusting. But certainly it won't, you know, feeding him doesn't hurt in the long run. When they get teeth, you kind of have to teach them to not bite, although some babies don't bite anyway. But I would say stick with it because it's such a rewarding experience, and it really is such a good way of fostering comfort and closeness. So one thing I do want to mention is I joined a group on Facebook called Can I Breastfeed in It UK, and that is a brilliant supportive group. So it's actually for kind of advice on what to wear when breastfeeding. So you don't really notice that until you're breastfeeding, but it's a lot of the clothes they sell on the high street are really difficult to breastfeed in. So this group started out as sort of a fashion group, so you can say, oh, I'm after kind of an outfit that will be breastfeeding friendly to go to a wedding, and then loads of people chime in with links of high street shops. It's often Primark, H&M, it's really affordable stuff. But it's just lovely to see kind of pictures of clothes and people feeling confident in their post-baby body as well, and it's just a really nice supportive network, so I would definitely recommend joining that group. Other advice would be to stay well hydrated, even if it's not a hot summer, and eat enough as well. And I suppose don't worry that your boobs will go wonky. I kind of worried a bit about alternating boobs between feeds, but actually they don't go wonky. It's a myth, and it's fine, and I wish I hadn't worried about that. So that would be another tip.
We hope you've enjoyed watching these videos. Have a great breastfeeding celebration week.